I'm now presenting the winner of the Masters at the Quantbox Chennai Grand Masters 2025, Vincent Keymer. Vincent, could you please tell the fans and everyone over here, what did you feel about the atmosphere of playing in India? What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, so it has been an amazing event, also organization-wise, so thank you to everyone. Also playing in the same hotel where Michigan's Magnus took place was something special for me, and you know, after having won an event, usually I have good things to say. It's the same for me. Yeah, for me it has just gone fantastic. Of course, also with the necessary bit of luck, but yeah, I really enjoyed being here, playing this tournament, and yeah, it was really nice.
At what point of the tournament did you believe that yes, you're actually going to win it, and did it change your approach for the remaining games?
I tried to not change the approach of my games. Basically, when Arjun lost to Nihal and I got that 1 point advantage, I felt that if I don't win the tournament, it would be quite disappointing for me. But of course, with 5 rounds to go, there was still a lot to play for. But yeah, I mean, since I managed to more or less keep up the level, I think after that I had very good chances.
Thank you very much, Vincent, and congratulations once again.
Vincent, I think just few hours ago, the closing ceremony ended. You had dinner, some chats with friends here, and it's like, has it sunk in yet? Winning this tournament with such a big margin.
Yeah, I already had a bit of time since I won the tournament already before the last round, but for now I'm mostly tired, so I think I will need to sleep a bit and get some rest before I can fully understand what happened here and also celebrate a bit for myself.
I would like to speak with you about the final round today, first of all. I feel while others might think that it was not such a critical game, for you it was very important, yes?
Of course, I mean, the tournament is very important and winning it means a lot. But as we already talked about before, breaking into the top 10 was also a major achievement for me, and that game was kind of very important for that. And actually now that Anish won his game, I actually had to win to stay in the top 10, which I didn't really think about before, but that actually happened that way. So yeah, but in general, like, I was trying to approach the game as every other, meaning as black against a strong opponent, being solid first and waiting if I get the chance, but yeah.
Yeah, and it worked out perfectly in the end. You are world number 10 now, 2750.9 in live ratings, or I think it'll round off to 2751 in the next list. What does winning such a strong tournament mean to you? Like, is it something that you are proving to yourself that how strong you are? Is it something to proving to the outside world? Tell us a bit about your feelings on that.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that I've been working a lot and my rating has not gone up since 1.5 or 2 years. So like I already reached 2743 or 44 in January 24. And after that, it has been going a bit up and down. And, you know, I always felt that like there was potential for more than these 2720, 30. And of course, now having such a kind of breakthrough tournament is really amazing. Usually, you know, to get these 20 points from 2730 to 2750, some never manage. For others, it takes a very long time. That it's happening in one tournament, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm just very happy. And also, I think it will give me a good feeling for the very important upcoming events.
We have Grand Swiss coming up. We have World Cup coming up, 2 very important events this year. How do you see your peers, like Arjun and Gukesh and Nihal, and these players, of course, are around the same age as you? And how do you see your competition with them? Is it something that you want to qualify to the candidates before them? Is it an ongoing fight in your mind? Is it like, or is it like just the same, I need to play well and others do whatever they want?
Well, I mean, some of them already qualified to candidates, so they are ahead on that. And yeah, of course, also they have, like most of them have a higher rating still, even after the tournament. But you know, it's very specific. Like as when we were younger, I felt that there was more of this direct competition. Now we anyway played many tournaments together, but like what I'm still missing is, for example, to be in Grand Chester for a full season. So
yeah.
of course, to get there, I still need to, you know, I had to climb a bit. Gukesh is of course special case because he's already world champion, and I think for him now it's kind of a difficult task to still improve as a chess player because he's.
I mean, what to do next?
Yeah, I mean he's world champion at 18, and it's very clear that he has incredible talent and is a very strong player already. But it's also clear that he has potential to become an even better player.
Yes.
And you know, when you become world champion, I think you also spend a lot of time and energy basically being world champion.
Yes.
So he has to find the kind of focus and energy to work on chess as hard as before. And I think that is not as easy. Like, I think it's really underestimated how difficult of a task it is. Of course, as a world champion, you also have some, let's say, privileges,
yes.
obviously, yeah, because you also fought for it and you deserve them.
True.
But at the other side, it's not that easy. And then there's like Nodebek, for example, who's also more or less in the same shoes. I mean, he also is
World Rapid
top
champion.
5 to top 10,
Yeah.
somewhere around that. He is, of course, looking to qualify for the candidates, but as me also, in terms of FIDE circuit, there's Prag who won like all these incredible events. But actually, I will have to be a bit careful about all the regulations because I'm not sure that, in theory, if Prag qualifies through either Grand Swiss or World Cup, and I, for example, wouldn't,
Yeah.
it might be that he kind of drops out of the circuit race.
Yeah, then the second person should get the spot.
Exactly. So that
Yes.
could also play a role. And I think we will have a pretty important fight because there are like these 3 ways to still qualify. And there are so many players who want to take one of those spots. So, of course, not everyone can make it. And in that way, for now, it's more of a competition with myself. Like, how well can I play and can I get that candidate spot? Can I play so well in all of these tournaments that it's enough? Or play well enough in all the tournaments for it to be enough for the circuit? So that's very, very interesting. And, you know, I'm sure many people have seen that picture from 2014 Durban, the under 10 world championship, where we were sitting at the closing ceremony and
Correct.
I don't know, feeling that that's kind of where we started. I mean, of course,
Yes.
all of us had learned chess a few years before, but like our careers were just getting started, and that we got from there to where we are now, seeing that there are like, I don't know, 5 players or something like that in the top 10
Yes.
from these birth years. That's
It's
truly
insane
incredible.
actually to think about that. All of you made it so far. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's also really rare case. I mean,
Yes.
you've had these kind of clusters that, for example, Nepo and Magnus are same age,
Yeah.
and like Kramnik, Levon, Peter also, they are all more or less around the same age. But now that you have this many players, I think now in top 10 we have Gukesh, Prag, Arjun, Nodirbek, Alireza, and me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's 6 people.
Yeah, I think it was 7. Maybe I'm missing one, but yeah, it's insane number of young people in the top 10 actually.
Yeah, it's okay. Vehi is there.
Yes.
He's a bit older, but still
Yeah.
pretty young.
Yeah.
So that's truly an incredible thing to see. And I don't know, it's also a good feeling playing alongside them. Of course, there will always be competition.
Yeah.
And, you know, if things don't change much, I think I can also expect to have them around for a very long time. So, you know, when I grew up, there were all these players like Wesley, Levon, Anish, Mamedjarov, Grishuk, they were playing the candidates, and also they have been fighting for such a long time.
Yes.
And, you know, I feel like we could be at the start of such an era. I still think that, I think Anish said it once, that at the moment we don't have a very clear top 10.
Yes.
And I agree with that. Because like there used to be a time when you could pretty clearly say who are the best players in the world. And now, okay, basically Magnus doesn't really play much classical chess. Obviously he's a very strong player, but he just doesn't play as much, and he's also not involved in the like world championship cycle.
Yeah.
Hikaru also doesn't play as much, and then only like the top 2 players are out, and 7 of the rest are the young players. And I do believe that they, and also we, are very strong. But like, if you ask me whether I believe that we are significantly stronger than, let's say, Anish, I don't think so. I mean, of course we have something he doesn't, but he also has things we don't. So that's gonna be a fight, and of course I think you can expect that over time, like if we continue working the same way we do, they're gonna get older, it's gonna be tough for them to keep up that level, while we might even have some potential to improve. Like they are mostly over their peak,
Yes.
while for us, hopefully at least, it's still coming. But I think that's pretty exciting times ahead here.
Absolutely. I remember the first time I personally got to know about you. It was this 2018 Grenke, this epic game you had against Magnus. I think
It was against Rapport. I played against Magnus in 2019 when I qualified for the Grand Classic.
But there was this game against Magnus, right, where it was a very tough fight, and
It was 2019.
Yeah, it was 2019, exactly. So 2019 would be the year then, and you played this wonderful game. But I think towards the end, maybe like 60th move or something, there was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he took a lot of risk,
Yeah.
which gave me chances, and I had the winning position, which I then messed up to a draw and then later messed up to a loss. But yeah, it has been crazy. I mean, also, if you've ever been to Karlsruhe and the Grenke Open, you know this incredibly big hall
Yes,
with all the
huge.
people being there. And I was 40 years old at that time, so that of course made an impression. It was my first game against Magnus, the first time on such a big stage, so many spectators, and I was, I think, the last, or at least one of the last games to finish in that whole hall after, I don't know, 6 hours, 45
Also, the
minutes.
time control was very long. In
Yeah,
that
it was a very long time control, like very classical long time control. So yeah, of course, that's still a memory that's kind of stuck with me.
I wanted to ask you, how did your beginnings, how were your beginnings in chess? I mean, obviously at that point already you were quite strong. By 2019, you were probably already Grandmaster
No, I mean, in 2019 I became Grandmaster, but later that year.
later that year.
So I was like around 2,500 rated already, but the title came a bit later.
So, how did you get your start in chess? I mean, Germany, of course, is a very good, strong chess nation with many top players. But how did your journey start specifically?
Yeah, so basically I asked my parents to teach me the rules, like as a curious kid. And, they realized I showed interest. I started spending time with it. I went to the local club. I started playing youth tournaments in my area, which I won without basically any training. Then I started having a little training from like coaches in the area. I changed to a better, like stronger club with also weekly trainings. And I could play my first league games. And then I also pretty early qualified for my first German championship. Like I played an under-8 championship in 2010 or 11.
Oh, wow.
Oh, not, I think it was 2000. Yeah, one of those 2 years.
Okay.
And I won that. Like it was an open German championship, so not only Germans, but still youth championship. I won it with 9 out of 9.
Oh, wow.
And then I qualified for the actual under 10 German championship. I think it was my first year was 2011, so I was still 6 years old when I played my first championship, and it was only around 1.5 years later after I learned the rules of chess. So that was going quite quickly. And yeah, then I mean, obviously, having a decent rating at that age and playing German championship, people started to like realize that I'm there. I started working a bit more, and then a few years later I started winning my first German championship. Then I won the German championship with 11 out of 11. And that's kind of how things got started.
And yeah, I mean, very promising start at the beginning with these very great results. And of course, I think you never looked back since. When in this journey did Peter Leko become a part?
Yeah, so basically we are in the year 2017, and ahead is the under 20 Youth World Championship. So I was 12, turning 13 during that tournament, and I had no real coach to prepare or help me during the tournament. So my sponsor Grenke, they at the time they were planning to get a team into first Bundesliga, and basically with world-class players, and then substitute them with young German players, so that we would get a young German Bundesliga team.
Yes.
And Peter Leko was one of the players who were supposed to help that team reach the first Bundesliga. So basically that's where the connection started. And also, I think that year already we were in the first Bundesliga, so we played in the same team. And that's when we got to know each other first. But the contact for the tournament was made by the sponsor. And then they asked him whether he would imagine going to Tarvisio and help him for the tournament. And I think Peter is a curious person, so that was my luck that he wanted to see. Of course, he heard about me also playing in the same team. But as you know, he understands that having a rather high rating at a young age doesn't mean that much. It can also be done simply through a lot of work, and how talented someone actually is and how far you can go doesn't only depend on the rating. So I think his intention was to see what he thinks, how good I can become. And yeah, we started working during the tournament, and it seemed that he felt that there was big potential for me to become a good player. And since then, he's really been extremely invested in making me a great player, and really has given a lot to me. And yeah, I owe him really a lot.
Absolutely. And since he has been part of your journey, he's still here, he's still helping you with openings. And has his role shifted in the sense that perhaps before it was more of a trainer and now it is more of a second?
I think it's fair to say that the role has changed, but I don't think it's that clear. Like basically, the start you have to mention, I was 13, so I was more just following my intuition in terms of what to do, how to train, how to work on chess, which tournaments to accept, like all of these things. And you know, Peter being in the top 10 for, I don't know, 10 years or something, he has so much experience with like how life as a top chess player is like,
Yes.
that he could teach me really a lot. Of course, mainly about chess, which includes how to work on openings, how to set up a repertoire, how I can work myself. Like, you know, you're sitting at home and you have a few hours, then how do you spend those hours? Like, what do you do? How to use those hours efficiently? But also, how do I set up my tournament schedule? What is my goal? How do I work towards those goals in the best case? Do I try to get my rating up as quickly as possible? Is it more important to focus on my like growth as chess player? Like, even how do I communicate with tournament organizers? All these kind of things, which if nobody tells you like how you're supposed to know, yeah, you can figure it out.
That's true.
And that's kind of how I went up until that point. But he taught me so much, and of course, at some point he taught me so much that many of those things I could already do myself.
Yes.
And that's the main reason why his role has shifted. And of course, by now also, I as a player have a stronger opinion on what I want to play. I mean, at that point, it was clear that he made the decisions of which opening we would look at, or which I should play. And by now, it's more like we're discussing it together. We're thinking about what might make sense. And, you know, I think in chess, it's very specific. Like sometimes players have a feeling for what they feel comfortable with. And often it's a good idea to follow that feeling. So he doesn't have that ambition to basically make me his player. He understands that I am, you know, a bit stubborn at times and that I have my own way with things, and he just tries his very best to support me in that way. And I think that has been working out pretty well.
Coming to this tournament in particular, of course, this year your earlier success was in Weissenhaus. Very different sort of tournament, different format, freestyle chess, of course, like very different. But here in this tournament, I feel the start you got was exceptional. This 3 out of 3 start, that really got the things going for you. If you can take us back to this game 1, this very intense game against Nihal. What happened there, and did you think that that win really shaped up the tournament for you?
Yeah, I think it's very fair to say that if I hadn't won that game, things would have been different. Like, I was surprised in the opening, which is always unpleasant, but then like it was a bit shaky what he did, and he really had to know many moves. And the last one, he had to know he didn't know. Yeah. So then I got a very nice position. Basically winning. I also understood it's winning. He was very low on time, and it was, as Anders said in the stream today, very sloppy. Yeah, I have 20 minutes on the clock. I see a winning way, and I just think that, okay, let me do a forced way. And by calculating a forced way, I made an error, which was absolutely unnecessary. I mean, I had a very normal way of playing, which was winning, and I saw it's winning. I just thought I should, like, you know, finish it now.
Yes.
Not to give any room to error, which I did by doing so. And then I gave him a chance. The position was still a bit difficult for him, but draw nevertheless. And of course, him blundering that game was incredibly important. It really shapes, sometimes these first rounds can really shape the tournament. You know, if I hadn't won that game, of course I would be frustrated. I would be annoyed with myself, like, why didn't I do that? Even though that I won the game, I'm still annoyed that why did I make that mistake? But it's different, you know, it's not as bad. It doesn't feel as bad. And then winning that second game, of course, already you get into some kind of flow. Third game was incredibly nice. Like, I got my idea from the opening, I got a nice position, found more or less best moves, and then played a pretty smooth game. So that was very nice. And, you know, starting in the tournament with 3 out of 3 in a round robin this strong is really, it barely ever happens. Yeah, that's truly rare. And of course, I was also supported by Nihal, who beat Arjun in the 4th round. But then I was full point ahead already. And that, of course, at the same time, at one time it's pressure, because you feel like now you have to win that tournament.
Correct.
On the other hand, full point is a lot.
Yes.
So, and things were going well. Like, I think it's really underestimated that, especially in Rapid and Blitz, but also in Classical, it matters whether you have the feeling that you can fully trust your intuition. Especially here, where you have a shorter time control, you need to save time where you can.
Yes.
Like, sometimes I would have the tendency to spend too much time on certain decisions, which do matter but not as much. And then later in the game, I will have no time left to make decisions which will decide the whole fate of the game. So it's very important to save these few minutes at certain occasions to have that extra time when it really matters. And I think it helps if you have that confidence. That confidence, it's not about confidence that I am a good player. It's about confidence that in this tournament, like right now, my form is good and I can trust my intuition and my calculation. I think that's a very important point. And of course, that's something that really gets helped by if you start well in the tournament.
In terms of your cleanest game in the tournament, or like what would you say was your most favorite game you played?
I think cleanest was really the third one against Kartikeya, and that was, at least from a human point of view, more or less flawless. Of course, there are moves where I didn't choose the first line, but from a human point of view, it was very clean. I didn't allow him any counterplay, and there was never any major change in evaluation after my move. So that is very nice from my side. Apart from that, I
Maybe
think
today's game?
Today's game was nice, but the opening was kind of awful, so that shakes things up a bit. But against Avonder, I think also was a nice game. And of course, I had many fighting games. Yeah, that's also, I think, first of all, because of the field, a very fighting field, and also the time control that really makes it that we had so many decisive results and fighting games.
Vincent, tell us right about now, who is your main sponsor? It's still Grenke, I believe, yes?
I still have Gukesh as a sponsor, but I also signed with an esports team.
Basilisk.
Yes,
Yes.
for the esports World Cup, but also general. So they are now supporting me as well, and it's really nice having them. I mean, I didn't play well in the esports World Cup, which of course didn't feel good, but they've been very supportive nevertheless. And you know, I do believe that me personally, and also most other chess players, the most pressure we have is from ourselves.
Yes.
Like, we expect us to play well because we know what we're capable of, and anything less than that is kind of a disappointment to us. But if you have a feeling that, you know, someone supports you, you want to give back. And the best way we as players can give back, apart from doing interviews and content in that way, is performing well.
Yes.
Because that is, you know, positive connection. And that way I thought it's very nice that I didn't have any negative reaction to a bad result, and now having a very nice result, I think that's a good thing.
In terms of education, how is the scene in Europe and in Germany especially? Because in India, we have these top young players who have completed their school education. Many of them have not gone on to college at all. Many of them have just completed their education over like not going to the school at all. How is that in Germany? And is education something, or higher education in general, something you're interested in?
It's very different. So let me start by that. In Germany, you have to go to school up until the age of 16.
So it's
That's
mandatory,
like
you have
mandatory.
to go.
You have to go. And it's really like, it will also be enforced. Like, if you're missing from the school for 1-2 weeks, without the excuse, the police will come and ask, like, why are you not going? And basically, I already had special rules. For example, normally you need to be there a certain amount of time in half a year, so that year actually counts towards your final amount of time. And it's a bit tricky. I personally finished school already at 7.5 because I took like 1-2 shortcuts. So that's why I didn't decide to stop school at 16, because I felt like I'm so close to graduating that at least I can, you know, finish it.
Like might as well finish it, yes.
Yeah. But I think it's quite difficult. Also, basically, missing from school is a bit dependent on your grades.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not doing well in grades, school will not tell you, okay, no worries, go away for a month. And that way I was glad that my grades were somewhere between good and very good. So I didn't have issues with that. I mean, and also most of the students and teachers were very supportive, because of course, you know, I was missing a lot. I had special rules. It's natural that some people will not really be happy about it. Also, teachers could think, you know, they have extra work because of me. Sometimes they had to do extra exams because I was missing, and it's easy to get annoyed, but they've been very supportive. And yeah, basically the last few years, I of course had to write all my exams, so that took a lot of time, but at least I was able to go for all the tournaments needed. So as long as I managed to keep up with the themes that were discussed and had good grades in the exams and were basically present when it was needed, I was allowed to go for both training camps and tournaments during my school time. Well, that was also only because we went to some like education ministry and had the special agreement. Otherwise, it's also not possible. Like normally in Germany, every time that's more than 3 days, I would have to write a letter to the principal to ask for permission to leave. And you know, knowing our schedules, you can imagine how much work that would be. So this was, you know, I think for Peter it was also kind of painful to see, like he was investing so much,
Yes.
and he also saw that I had the will to really work a lot, but I was simply limited. Also, school in Germany often is till like 4, 5 p.m. So basically you start from 8 and then till 4, 5. On top of that, you have homework, studying for exams and so on.
Yes.
So, and it's always been in between tournaments. For example, it happened that there's a Grand Swiss, and 2-3 days later is the European Team Championship. So I went home. I write in Germany. It's called Abitur. It's like the final exams, and that's basically the pre-exam for that final exam. So quite an important one. And I went back to write one of those exams, and next day I went for the European Championship.
Oh my God.
And after I came back, I had 2 exams directly the next days. So that's kind of the life I was living. And there's also, you know, I sometimes felt that when I spent, because obviously after a long time missing, I had to spend a lot of time for school.
Yeah.
And after I spent that much time for school, like some chess things got erased from the memory because you focus on other things. So you're not that much...
Like you're not up to shape properly, yes?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not, you forget a few things. And now it's very different because when I come back from a tournament, all I have to do is get ready for the next one.
Yes.
And many of Asian players, especially Indians, they, I mean, some of them went to school, but I think none of them had to go as much as I did.
Yeah.
So they had, they
Hmm.
had the opportunity to work like a chess professional from a much younger age. Basically, I was working as if I was a chess professional, but I didn't have enough time. And that's also why, for example, my opening repertoire was quite narrow for a long time, because I didn't have the time to make a good quality and wide repertoire. It just wasn't possible. And since I was playing quite strong tournaments, I decided, or we decided together with Peter, that it was make more sense to have a good quality but narrower repertoire to be able to like play reasonably against very strong players. But I truly think that it changed a lot finishing school. That being said, I do think education is kind of important, and it's to me.
Did it help you? Do you think personally?
I don't know. I think it's a very difficult topic because on one side you can say I do believe that it doesn't necessarily make sense to teach every single child the exact same things, because different children have different talents and they are different personalities, and some things they will just find very boring and others very interesting.
Yes.
And the things they find boring they might never use in life anyway because they just erase it from like their memory. On the other side, I do think that for life, a certain education can be helpful. And in that case, I would say of course, I miss all the hours I didn't have for chess, but I think I would have missed at least part of that education if I didn't have it. So of course, like the ideal case would be that I can just choose what kind of education or like which topics exactly I want to study, but obviously that doesn't work. But that's why I think it's not so easy to find the perfect solution, or basically impossible. So I think for my case, everything worked out nicely, but it was only possible with the help of many people and also goodwill of many people. So I do realize that, especially compared to many other German players, I've had a pretty good situation. Like things were working out very nicely, even though it was difficult. Like, I remember that I felt, especially the past few months closing up to my final exams, you know, after my first written exams, few days later the Grand Prix started in Berlin.
Oh my God.
And after my oral exams, few days later the second Grand Prix started. And I really felt that I kind of was tearing myself apart between both, because you know, everything kind of had to get some attention. So, but everything worked. Like I was just glad at some point that I was looking forward to this being over, so that I can choose how to divide my time myself. And if you look at our national team from Germany, many players even have a full college degree.
Yes.
Like for example, Blöbaum, I think he has a full master's degree in maths. And these players, they are seriously good chess players.
Yes.
They are somewhere between 2650 and 2700 already, going to school for 12, 13 years and going to college or university for another, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. And if you imagine how much work and energy they poured into that, of course it's reasonable to think that if they had spent that time on chess, they would have become an even better player. So I think Germany is, it takes care of education, but it's a bit difficult to fully focus on one thing. So that's probably the reason why we didn't have that many top level chess players. I think Germany in the past 10, 20 years, we've had many strong players, like in top 100 or around that. But at the very top, it has always been very shallow.
I think the greatest player has been Emanuel Lasker, historically speaking, perhaps.
Yes, I think so. And of course, Hübner has been very good. So
Yes.
he was top 3 at some point.
Yes.
But, that's also already 40, 50 years ago.
Yes.
So, yeah, things. I'm kind of hoping that now our national team, I feel like it's very strong. It's also still pretty young. So
You are
there's-
board 1, who is board 2?
Okay, I think it's pretty close between Blübaum and the younger Swane brother. Then we have Kollers, Rasmus Swane, older Swane brother, and Donchenko also.
And Marcus Rager not anymore?
He's in Austria.
He's in Australia. Correct. You are right.
So these are normally the 5 people who kind of are 6 people, sorry. So one guy always has to be left out, which is
Yes.
a pity, but okay, that's how it is.
Yes.
And I think all of them have been above 2650 already, and still none of them is above 30. So there's actual chance for them to still improve or make some progress. Especially younger Swane brother is my age, and he also finished school only around 2 years ago. So clearly he can still do something. And I kind of have the hope that if I perform well and we also have some success with the national team, that it will bring more attention towards chess and encourage more young chess players in Germany to go towards a professional chess career.
That would really be wonderful, and I mean, I'm already your Olympiad ring is very strong, and I'm sure it will get even stronger in the year to come. One final question I would like to ask you, Vincent. Of course, given your great success here in Weissenhaus and also here in Chennai, me personally, as you are a very young and ambitious player and someone who I viewed always as a big competition to Gukesh, when I first got to know, or the world got to know, that you are working as a second with Gukesh, it was a bit of a surprise that you are almost competing rivals. Why would you work in a world championship team with one of your main competitions? But now that some time has been passed away from it, it's been 7-8 months now since world championship win. How do you feel about that whole endeavor, and do you think it helped you chess wise or maybe even non-chess wise?
Interesting question. I think that, first of all, why I decided that it's not really an issue that we're kind of competitors is because he was playing the World Championship match and I wasn't even qualified for candidates. So that's not the same thing. I think already if I had played, for example, the candidates and he had won the candidates, things would have been different. That way, I was able to not have any bad feeling towards it, because also I do believe that, I think that's kind of also Peter's attitude. If you take such a job and you're working for someone, you should truly be able to wish them the best and give your best. If I feel, okay, let me go there and I will see what's going to happen, that's not really, then I shouldn't take the job. Then I should just give it to someone who really can give his whole for it. So that is the first thing that I felt like I think he's a nice person. And I felt that also with the other people we worked together, it was a really nice atmosphere, and I was really able to feel welcome also and have a good feeling about the whole thing and work as good as I possibly could. Then how much it helped me, it's difficult to say. I think what's very valuable is just the experience of seeing, or basically experience of going as deep as you go for a World Championship match. I am of the opinion that I myself am a player who prepares rather deep, I go into pretty big detail, but still it's different because there's not as much at stake. If I go to a game here, of course I will have done my homework and I will be thorough, But if I feel like it could decide the world championship match, maybe I will go a bit of an extra length to make sure it's really clean and everything is covered. And I think this little extra it's a way of working and perceiving chess that you don't really get if you're not in that situation. You can't really simulate it. So I do think that's a valuable lesson or something valuable to see. And of course, also I got to see how he works. Again, I think I said it before, I am a very different player. So just doing what he does will not work for me, and also shouldn't. So that's not the intention, but it's more something that you get to see a bit beyond your own horizon. And maybe there are a few things you can implement in your own game. So there's nothing direct I took from that. It's not like I can say, okay, this is the lesson I learned and that's what made me a better chess player. But there were experiences which I believe contributed to my world of knowledge about chess, and that in general can of course make me a better player.
That's really wonderful to hear, Vincent. I know I said final question, but I just remembered one last thing before I let you off and like you can go and sleep peacefully at night. We have seen your girlfriend Stephanie coming with you in tournaments and accompanying you. Of course, here your father was here and she could not be here, perhaps due to like a much longer travel. How has her role been in your career, if you can tell us a bit?
I think it's very difficult. Like if you see how our schedules are as chess players, it's very natural that any kind of human relationship is difficult with friends, partners. Simply, like even if I devoted all the time I have left to that, still I'm only at like one spot for a third of the year,
yes,
which is not a lot of time. So it's a very specific kind of lifestyle that we're having, and it's really not easy, like for us as well, but of course mainly for the people around you, because at least for me, myself, I chose that path. So, I mean, I have the power to say I play less tournaments or I play more tournaments. I also have the power to basically change that if I really would want to, which I don't, because, you know...
You like it.
Yeah, I like it, and chess is my life, and if I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't be the same person.
That's true.
I think it's different to many jobs. Like, many people who have kind of normal jobs, they treat it as a job,
Yes,
but for us, it's life. I am a person who genuinely believes that even though I give a lot for chess, I want to build a life outside of chess for several reasons. First of all, I think it's just healthy as like being a human. I also believe that being as healthy as you can as a human helps you being a good chess player. I mean that both physically and mentally. So everything that connects to that, as you mentioned, my father is here with me. That's also, it's not because I cannot eat or sleep alone. I can do those things, and I also know how to travel. I've done that for the past, 5 to 10 years already myself. But it's about a feeling of support, a feeling of, just having a good feeling. And, in Weissenhaus, for example, both she and my father were there. So like at really a lot of support. Peter was also there as commentator,
yes,
but still, it matters. It really does. And to me, I've been thinking actually quite a lot in my life about what I want to sacrifice for chess and where my limits are. Because at some point there's a question like, how much do I give to absolutely try everything, 100% in my power to become, top 5 world champion, whatever. And where do I draw a line and say, okay, that's something like holy to me that I want to keep.
Yeah, I cannot give this one away.
Yeah, and basically that ended up being like sanity, happiness, and something that's all the things that are connected to it. And basically everything else I offer. So like all the time that I can give for chess, I give. All the energy I have, I try to give it. And it's also because chess is giving back.
Yes.
If you do something you're passionate about, it's not like you're just throwing energy into a black hole, but you get something back from it because I enjoy it. Of course, there are moments which I don't enjoy as much. I mean, if you lose a game or you have to do something you don't really like, it's all part of that. But overall, still, chess is something I really enjoy. So, chess is very important, but I genuinely believe that building a life outside of chess is important for me as a human being, but also as a chess player.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vincent, for this long and wonderful interview you gave. I wish you all the best in all that you do next, and of course, best wishes for Grand Swiss.
Thanks.